were you busy, ma'am?
When are you asking?
No, were you busy on yesterday? You said
yeah, I told you, right? Some festival in my area. So, too much
Okay.
noise, loudspeaker voice. So I couldn't take any classes. That's right. Actually, Sunday, right? So I used to. I won't take.
No, I thought there was
classes.
some election canvas going on. So obviously here also we are facing the same issue. But now, we have been
Okay.
keep on calling.
Okay, 1 minute. Yes.
Yes.
So I will.
Ma'am, I will complete the class and we'll look for the this. I asked you one doubt. The sum of natural numbers. I couldn't be able to get the answer.
Yes, we can see.
Afterwards, we'll take it.
Yeah, at the
Sure.
end of the session, we can see.
Sure.
Okay, so we have finished 2 concepts, right, in OOPS. That is 3 concepts: polymorphism, overloading, overriding, inheritance. Yes, we have finished 2 concepts only. Next thing we can see is abstraction. So I'm creating a new Python, new Java package. So it is abstraction. Okay, abstraction. So abstraction is hiding implementation details. So I'm going to create a class. So I'm naming it as base. I'm having another class. I'm naming it as derived. Because for abstraction, you are in need of inheritance concept. So I'm creating 2 classes now. So base class and then derived class. So what I have to do if I want to make a connection between these 2 classes is it just extends base. So as usual. So now, sorry, this one.
Should I make?
Yes, in main derived, I'm having a main method. So I'm having a main method. So now let's see what is this abstraction. So abstraction is hiding implementation details. So abstraction means hiding implementation details. How they will hide it is using abstract methods. If you want to an abstract class will have normal methods, that's usual methods, as well as abstract methods. Abstract methods.
Okay.
So abstract methods will not have its implementation details. Okay? Abstract methods will not have implementation detail.
Normal methods in the sense you are talking about static and non-static.
Static and non-static method. That is non-abstract methods, normal methods.
Non-abstract. Okay.
Yes. It will not have its implementation details in its base class. Okay. It will not have implementation details in its base class, but they will be redefined in its subclass, that is derived class. So let's see this one. Suppose if you want to convert a class to an abstract class, this normal class to one abstract class, if you want to convert, means you have to add a keyword abstract before the class definition. Abstract keyword before the class definition. So let's see, I want to make this base class as an abstract class and adding abstract keyword before that one. So now
even before access modifier, you should give abstract.
Yes, without an access modifier also you can do it. It's not a problem. You can see once I have added the abstract keyword, you can see abstract A, the letter A is in this symbol.
Okay.
That means it is a abstract base class. Okay. Now I'm going to have normal methods first. And one more thing is abstract methods cannot be instantiated. That means you cannot create objects for abstract class. Okay. Now I'm going to have first let me have a normal method. So it will be public void. It will be normal. I'm just giving a message here. It will be a sysout message. Sysout. I'm sending normal method. Okay. Now so we have normal method now. I want to call this method in derived class means how to call it, what is the conventional way. So creating an object for base class and calling it, right? Try to do that one, but you won't be getting that one conventional way. So it is base b equal to new base
New
of,
base.
I'll be getting an error. Reason is cannot instantiate this type base. Abstract classes cannot be instantiated. You cannot create object or abstract class. So what is the only way then? You have to rely on your derived class for calling the non-static method, right? So only way for calling the non-static methods of abstract base classes using its derived class instance. So here this derived
Derived or
is equal to new derived of then d dot normal method, right?
Yes.
This is the only way. So the reason is abstract classes or cannot be created. Objects cannot be
The
created for
conventional way
this.
is not possible.
Yes, yes. So we are using this one, and now this is normal method, right? Let's try a abstract method now. So it is abstract, okay? Abstract void. I can give any name. It's up to us. Abstract methods cannot be static in nature. It has to be non-static in nature. Okay. And now you can see I'm
Okay.
getting an error. So what is the error? Abstract methods do not specify a body. That means I cannot create. I cannot create a body for this abstract methods. Okay, I cannot create. That means I told you right. Abstract methods cannot be. That is, we cannot have its implementation details in its base class. Abstract methods will not have implementation details in its base class. So where we will, this is where we will be implementing that concept, hiding implementation details. So if you see an abstract method, its details will not be there in its base class, but we must redefine them in its subclass. Go to its subclass and see, now you are getting an error in this derived class. What it is asking you? It is asking you to add unimplemented methods. I'm going for the first option, adding unimplemented methods. If I click on this one, automatically that print method that is declared in its base class will be defined here. Okay. Now you can have any code that is present here. You can have any code. So it is non-abstract method. Sorry, it is abstract method, right? Abstract method. How to call them? Calling them is with its derived class, right? We
Okay.
cannot call it using its base class. You can call it only using its derived class. So it is d dot print method. So you can see a triangle symbol. That means you are overriding that method. I'm running this code. So now I'll be able to get that abstract method. So this is abstraction where you are implementing that hiding implementation details here. You can see I could not see what is present in there, but we have to redefine them in its derived class. So in
Okay.
abstraction, what we will be doing is it is hiding implementation details. We will be using inheritance concept here. And important point is abstract class can have abstract methods as well as non-abstract methods. So abstract methods means it will not have its body in its derived in its base class, but they will be redefined in its subclass. And
Okay. So I have one question, ma'am. I
yeah,
mean, this overriding method is similar to polymorph, right? So we cannot
yes,
call from another call in the name of other class.
hmm.
Instead, we have to call same class name where it
We
is
cannot
present, right?
there
Just
we
like
can,
derived.
yes, there we can define two body, right? One in base class you can define, and in derived class also you can define the method. But here defining
Uh,
will be taken place in only one implementation details only here, right? That too
so
here.
we have to use the derived name, not base name. It will be error, right? Throw the error.
Yes, you cannot do
It
that.
when while okay.
Okay.
That's
So
over. Okay.
yes, abstract classes cannot be instantiated. So you have to call it only with the help of derived class. You cannot
That's
call
okay.
it with the help of base class instance. Okay. So this is abstraction. I'll repeat it again. Abstraction is hiding implementation details. You will be using inheritance concept here. And abstract classes can have both normal methods as well as abstract methods. Abstract methods do not specify its body, and if you want to call non-static method, you must rely on derived class instance only, because abstract classes cannot be instantiated. Okay. So this
Okay.
is hiding implementation details or abstraction we can say. Okay. So this is third OOPS concept that we have seen now. We are having one more thing, that is encapsulation. So let's see that one. I'm going to create a
Ma'am, I understand this, but when you say hiding implementation, so what does it actually? What is the meaning of that term, ma'am? Because
implementation details. Suppose if you're having some variables, okay, sensitive, that is important variables, let it be password, like that. If you're having and you are doing the important task in task means, you can hide it from the naive users. If they come and see, they could not predict what is the content of this abstract method exactly. If they want to know, they have to go through the method, that is derived method, that is subclass of this class. So that is where they are hiding the implementation details. Yes. To see the details, it is possible, but they have to identify the subclass correctly, right?
Okay.
So this is abstraction. So next is encapsulation. So I'm going to create a new package. So it is encapsulation. So encapsulation is data hiding. Let's see.
Ma'am, a small request: when you take this new classes now, new OOPS concept, don't type this, ma'am. First explain it so that it will be easier for me to follow. If you type everything, so mind is getting stuck here. So
okay,
what
no
do you
problem.
type?
Okay,
Kindly.
no actually, no, why I am typing these things is, suppose if you see this classes along I am sending, right? It will be easy
Yes,
for
no,
you
ma'am.
to. That's why.
I want you to type after explaining it. Because
Okay.
when you type everything, I am keep on focusing on it.
Okay, no
if you
problem.
could explain me and then type it,
Okay,
easier for me.
no problem. So now we are going to see encapsulation. Encapsulation is not using inheritance concept. Okay, it is not using inheritance concept. I'm having the student. So I'm having just a student class. So in encapsulation, what we will be doing is, we will be adding protection to variables. So it is data hiding. Suppose if you are having some important information, and if you don't want to have, if you want to enhance the security for the data, let it be. So now I can access the data, but for accessing, I have to go through certain steps. So that is what that is happening here in encapsulation. So what we will be doing is, first we will declare the variables as private. Suppose if I declare something as private, I cannot access it outside the class.
Yes,
right?
we have to access it.
Yes.
Yeah.
After that, I am going to provide public setter methods and getter methods to access the private variable in other classes. Okay? So by doing so, we will not give any value to those variables in the class where it is defined. But in another class where we are using that set method and get method to access the variable, there we will be using that details. So let's see. So what I'm going to do. So what is the first step I told you? We have to declare the private variables, right? I'm going to declare a private variable. So it is private. Okay. If I'm not giving a private variable, okay, I'm not going to give it as a private variable. I'm just going to declare a.
So it can give without the main method, right? Can be given directly.
Yes. It is a global variable, right? There is no need for main method here. So I'm just global, giving string password equal to, okay, let me string password, okay, and now I'm going to have another class in the same package. I'm creating another class in the same package. So let it be teacher class. So I can give any name. And here I'm having a main method. Suppose if you have not given a variable as
ma'am, one second, ma'am. You said the global variable can be given outside the main method, right?
I'm not having a main method here, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
I'm
so is it mandatory that we need to have main method, or we can proceed with our main method?
That's depend upon what concept you are using.
Okay.
So if you want to run the code, you are in need of a main method. Otherwise, if you are just going to make use of it for other purpose, means there is no need for main method. Okay. So now I have declared a variable, right? String password. It is a global variable. If you want to make use of it in other class, how will you do that one? So normal way, student s is equal to new student of, right? New student of, I'll be creating an object for that one. So after creating the object, I can access that one, right? So it is a sort of yes dot that password I can access. So this is normal way, right? I if I run the code, I'll be able to, if I'm having a value means I'll be able to access this one. So this is, it is displaying null because I have not given any value for it. Suppose if I declare it as private, I'll be getting an issue here, right? When I try to access it, I'll be getting an issue. So the reason is, it is, if I declare something as private, it is accessible only for the class where it is defined. Here you can see I'm not providing value for this password method. So I'm hiding the data that is hiding the value of this password. I'm going to assign or view or modify this password value through setter methods and getter methods. So if you want to achieve encapsulation, first step is you have to declare the variables as private, and second step is you have to provide public set methods and get methods. So let's see what are they. So it is public void set password. So this is set method. So what it will do is it will set the value for that. If you want to assign value to this variable, okay, I'm going to give it as okay. So it is this dot password is equal to password. So what is the error here? I have missed this data type here. To avoid confusion, so we are having, why we are using this keyword here is this global variable is also password and the parameter that I have given is also password. To avoid confusion, I'm adding this. When I'm adding this, this is pointing to the global variable, and this one it is pointing to the parameter here. So what the set method is do is it will help you to assign value to that password. So this is public set method. So because we are not having any value for this password, hereafter only we are going to assign value to this password. So this set method, it will help you to assign value to this password. So next is get method. So get method, it is public, the function with the return type. So what we are returning, we are getting the password. So return type of password is string. So we are going to get this password which is of string. So I have given public string, then get password. So I need not to pass anything because I'm not going to set anything. I'm just going to return something. So it is return password. So now I have, these are the steps involved in encapsulation. First, you have to declare your variables as private. Then you have to provide public set methods and get methods to access the variable. Now I'm going to give value to this password through this set method. You cannot straightly do this because when you try to straightly access this one, you are getting an error, right? So it is not at all coming. You can see it is not at all coming. So I'm going to provide value. I'm going to provide value to that password variable through set method. So set method, what it will do? It is going to give value to that set method, right? We are going to give value to that set method, that is password. I'm going to give it as some random value. Okay, let it be both. I'm just giving some variable here. So what will happen? This method will be called, setp method will be called, and password will be both now, and that will be assigned to this dot password, that is global variable. So now the value of password is both. You can see in this class I'm not at all using the value. In this way I'm providing data hiding. If you want to see the value or if you want to set the value of a global private variable, you can use it through the set method and get method. So now I set the value to this password. I want to check whether it is correctly done or not. What we can do, we want to check whether the value that we have given is correctly stored or not. So for that one, we are using get methods. So that get method, it is return type, right? Function with the return type. So I have to put that in sysort statement. So it is yes dot get password. So now if I run the code, what will be the password? So password is going to be returned now, right? So it is returning as both. If you don't want to have this one, if you want to change it, you can again call this setup method now. I want to change it by.
We can change the password.
Yes, I'm just passing some value there. And now what will happen? Password value will be changed. If you want to check whether it is changed or not, you can use this get password. So when I run this code, I'll be getting new password here. So if you want to view or if you want to modify the value of the private variable, you can do it through that is public setter and getter methods. So this is encapsulation. So the other name is data hiding. Why we are calling it as data hiding means if you see the class where you have defined the variable, you cannot see the value of that password. You can see only the structure, but you cannot view the value of this variable here, right?
Okay,
So
ma'am,
this
can you
is
explain me one more time?
where which one? Encapsulation.
No. Yeah, encapsulation. Just
Okay, so what are the steps involved? First is you have to declare the variables private. Then
okay.
what is the next one? So next one is you have to provide public setter and getter methods here. Why we are providing these things? Because once you have declared something as private, you cannot use it outside the class. But here I have not given value for this password variable and all. I'm going to
Okay.
provide value to this variable as well as I'm going to fetch. Let me
in
let me
assign.
finish. Okay, let me finish
Okay,
it.
okay,
Then
fine.
you can ask me.
Fine.
So okay, so why we are okay. So we are having public setter method and getter method here, right? So the reason for
Okay.
this one is once you have declared something as private, you cannot access it outside the class. If you want to access it, you can access it through public setter methods and getter methods, right?
Okay.
Yes. Now ask your doubt.
Yeah, and setup and assigning setup. I mean set P. We have given non-static, right? Void. So
Always it will be non-static. Setter method and
okay.
getter method will be non-static in nature.
Okay, but here it is like a constructors number get method public string GTP.
So, if it is a constructor, what is the syntax for creating a constructor? It will take class name as its name, right? So it
Yes,
is
ma'am. Yeah.
set public student, and one more difference is we will not have return type, but we are having it here, right? So constructor is also used for initialization purpose, but here this is set method. Okay, this is a method, not a constructor.
Okay.
And public setter
No,
and getter methods will be always non-static in nature.
non-static in nature. Okay, but you haven't
Yes.
given void here for getter method GET.
Why?
Get method. So
What is
that's
the
why.
return type here? What is the return type here?
String,
Return
ma'am.
type
String.
is string. It is going to give you something, right? So here you are
So
not
return
going to,
will give.
yes, we are
Okay.
not going to give anything in this void. We are going to set up something. It doesn't return anything. But here we are returning the password. So I'm giving the return type as string. Okay.
Okay, fine.
Okay, so this is encapsulation. So why we are saying it as hiding the value, that is data here, because we couldn't see the value of the password here, right? And so we have
Let me take
finished,
it.
yes. So we
Subclass.
have finished OOPS concept. So what are all the things we have seen so far? So we have seen variables, methods, constructors, then methods with the
How to give
parameters,
parameters,
the
local versus
return type.
global variables.
Yes. So after that, loops, operators, inheritance, polymorphism, encapsulation, and abstraction we have finished. Okay. So the remaining is interfaces there and the collection framework is there. So let's see that one. And before that, share your screen. Let's finish that one and then we can continue the class.
For the previous day assignment, no?
You have a doubt in that natural
Yes, ma'am.
numbers
Yeah,
addition,
I do
right?
have it.
That's it. Wait, I'll give you access now. Yes, you can share. 1 minute. Yes.
So one second.
Yes, you can share.
I have seen the solution on internet, but still I just want to check with you. They have used some as a variable. One second.
Okay, sum plus equal to they have used.
Yes, ma'am. They have used two concepts, for and while loop. Actually, I had that in mind, but I don't know how to sum the value. I can display it by using. Uh, yeah, this is on.
Okay.
So I will.
Okay. So 1 to 10, right?
Yes,
We have given the sum value as 0.
no, I have taken it from internet, but I have no
Okay.
idea why I gave it. So I just
Okay,
want
wait
to.
1 minute. So run this code. Wait. It will come. So here you have to, in line number 9, give it as sum plus equal to B.
Sum plus equal to B.
Yes. Okay, now
Okay.
run this code.
Okay. Can you explain, ma'am? We have given a variable. It's
Okay.
810.
Okay, give me access.
On some hours. You can share it.
No. Give me access. Your screen access, I
access.
want to have.
Ah,
Yes.
fine. Can you ask it? I never choose this.
Share your screen.
Okay, 1 second. Okay.
So this is simple assignment operator logic.
You want remote control, ma'am, or?
Yeah, remote control.
1 second. Okay. So you can use it.
Okay, yes. So let's see the logic behind this one. It's very low, very slow, right?
Sorry, ma'am.
Okay, it's very slow. Copy this code and send me. Okay. Send me in chat. I'll explain that in
Send in chat. Okay.
mm.
1 second.
Yeah. Okay.
Chat.
Okay.
Yeah, send it.
Okay. So now what is happening here? Let's see. Can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
So first we have given us this loop, and before that we have assigned variable sum is equal to 10. So what will be the loop now? B equal to 1, B less than or equal to A, already you have given it as 10. So then plus plus B or B plus plus, you can do anything. Okay. So plus plus B. Okay, let me do plus plus B. So now it will come into the loop. So sum plus equal to B means sum is equal to sum plus B. Okay. So what it will happen, already you have to always read the code after that equal, then only it will have to isolate to that value that is present to the left side. So what is sum now? Sum is 0 actually, right? Sum is 0 at the end. So it is 0 plus 1.
1.
So it is 1 now.
It was 1.
Yes.
Yeah.
Again, B value will be implemented. B equal to 2 and
So it means sum is equal to 1.
sum is equal to 1 plus next one 2, 3, right? And B equal to 3 and sum is equal to 3 plus 3. Already 3 is there, now 6. So B equal to 4. So sum is
3
equal
plus
to
4.
6
3
plus
plus
4.
4.
6 plus 4,
6 plus 4.
10, right? B equal to 5 and sum is equal
Sum is
to
equal to
15
10 plus 10.
and B equal to 6. So sum is equal to
21.
like that it will keep on going. 15 plus 6, it will be 21. And again B equal to 7 and sum is equal to 28. And B equal to 8, sum will be 36, right? And B equal to 9, sum will be 9 plus 36, 45. And B equal to 10, sum will be 55. So this is the logic. Okay. So stop. Okay, already I will share. So I'm just closing this one. So we have finished all the OOPS concept. Let's see the next one. Let's start with list today. So I'm going to create a collection framework. I'm going to create a package and name it as collection framework. So what is this collection framework? Is if you want to store large amount of data under a single name, then you can use this collection framework. So I'm going to create a new class first. So we are going to start with the list. So let's see what is this collection framework. So actually collection framework is a combination of classes and interface. I'll explaining what is interface after this one. So it is, I can say it is hierarchy of interfaces and classes. Interface is more or less like abstract class. So I'll take a separate class on interface. So mainly we are having list. These are the types of collection framework: list, map, set, and queue. So let's start with the list. So list is like, it is index based. So list is index based. It will allow duplicate values, and you can add or remove elements at any place. So it will store the elements in the correct, that is index value. String will store the elements, right? So in the same way, list will store its elements. So let's see how the values got stored. So the syntax for having a list is, first you have to mention list keyword. Then you have to mention the data type here. So if you want to have an integer list, then you have to mention integer wrapper class. So each primitive data type will have a wrapper class. It have all the methods necessary for that primitive data type. So for integer is the wrapper class, and I'm going to give a name. So it is new. We are having two types of list: array list and linked list. Let's start with the array list today. So it is array. You can add any number of elements in list. That is a disadvantage of using this list. So now I have created a simple array list. This is a syntax. First list a keyword, then in brackets you have to mention the data type, that is wrapper class, then name of the list is equal to new type of the list, then again that interface, that generic symbol, and then this brackets here. So
Yes, L is a keyword for list, right? List
L is
integer.
not a keyword. L is not a keyword. L is user defined name. Okay.
So different.
Yes, I'll
Yeah,
tell
we
you
can
what
give
all
any
the
names,
keywords.
right?
Yeah, it can be. You
Fine.
can give any name. So other than this one and whatever thing that you are given within this bracket, these are user defined. The other things are keywords. Okay. So
Keyword.
list is present in two places. One in AWT and another one is util. Always go for util now. So now this
Util.
one is a, so what it is showing, import array list. So you have to import both the lists. You can see this array list is a collection here, but list is an interface. So it is a combination of interface and classes. So this is empty list now. I can add any number of elements here. So it is like object name dot method name. If I have given, and one more thing is I have to mention it within main method, right? I'm not having a main method, so I'm facing this issue. So now it is an empty list, doesn't have any elements inside it. I'm going to add element here. So I'm adding some element randomly, I'm adding, okay. I can add any element here. It need not be in correct order. So I'm just adding, so I'm adding 5. So I can add, I'm giving 8 here. So now how the values will be stored is, I'm going to store this one. How the values will be stored is 0, 1, 2. Like that, index value will be there. In zeroth index, 10 will be there. And in index number 1, 5 will be there. And in index number 2, okay, in index number 2, 8 will be there. So this is how the values are stored here. Okay. So now if you want to add any element in between, you can add it. So you have to go for this method. Suppose if you want to add some element as the first one, means you can just give it as 0, comma that element. So now what will happen, in index position 0, 5 will be there. So it is allowing duplicates, right? So now your output will be 5, 10, 5, 10, 5, 8. So this is how the elements are stored. If you want to display the list element, means you can display it using, if you are slightly displaying this L. Okay. I'm slightly displaying the values of L. So running this code. getting 5, 10, 5, 8, right? If you want to remove the element, right? If you want to remove the element, so it is L dot remove. You can mention the index position. That element will be removed. I don't want to have that first 5. So if you want to remove the element, if you know the index position, you can do it. So it is after removing, I want to check it. So I'm giving L. So L dot remove of 0, the element that is present at the 0th index position will be removed now. So now it is 10, 5 and 8 alone. So I have removed
Is it out? The output is based on ascending order, ma'am, or
no, it doesn't
initially you have
follow
added no 5, 10.
insertion order. So now, so far it is taking insertion order, but it needs not to be in ascending or descending order like that. Okay.
Okay, so
So
it
it
can
is,
be either way, right? Any value can come at any place.
you have to mention the incorrect index position.
Okay. No, for initially we have given 10, right? L dot add 10. But
After
it's
that I
coming on
have,
the second.
yes, after that I have given the last line I have given as 0th index at 5 I have given, right? So the
Yes,
order
ma'am.
got changed here. So it is not mentioning any order depending upon your code. It is making
Okay.
a structure. Okay. So
Okay.
now you try to remove the element. So now, okay, so we have removed that element. Even for displaying the elements, okay, even for displaying the elements, we are having two ways using normal for loop and enhanced for loop. So let's see how to use that one. So now we are going to use normal for loop. So what I'm going to do is I'm iterating through the index. Okay, I'm iterating through the index, and during iteration I'm going to fetch the values present in that index. So if you want to if you want to get a value present at a particular index, okay, if you want to get a value present at a particular index, for example, if you want to find out an element which is present at the index number 2 means there is a method available, that is L dot get of 2. If I have given, what it will do is it will return the element that is present at the index position 2. So retrieval is possible. If you want to retrieve an element, you have to know its index. If you know the index means, then it is easy to retrieve that particular web element. Okay, that particular element.
But
Particular
as per the
element
updated one, 8 is on the third index now. How it's showing?
but recently it got deleted, right? So you have to always see the recently changed one. Okay.
So it
So
will
0,
consider the
1,
recently
2.
updated code, right?
Yes, always.
Yeah, okay.
So it is 0, 1, 2 now. Don't see the first one. You have to see the code that is latest code. Okay. So now,
Okay.
if I have given get of 2, the element present in that index position got retrieved. And also, if you want to count the number of elements present in a list, so we are having a function called the size of that method. It will return the number of elements present in this list. So it is going to return you the number of elements present in this list. So it is 3 so far. So now I'm going to iterate through this list. I'm going to display the element. So we know how to add the element. We know how to remove the element. We know how to get the element. And also we know how to count the number of elements present inside it. So now it is displaying the elements using normal for loop. I told you we are iterating through the index. So index always starts from 0, right? And what is the endpoint? Endpoint is size of this one, right? L dot size. So if I have given L dot size, it will start from index position 0 and it will iterate through the entire list. So I have given the range as L dot size, and I'm going to increment this index value. So now we know how to fetch the element present there, right? If you know the index, it is easy to fetch the element. So it is L dot get of index, right? So what will happen when it iterates for the first time? Index value will be 0 and I'll be getting L dot get of 0. What is L dot get of 0? It is 10. For the second time, the loop will be, second time the value will be 5 and I'll be getting L dot get of 1. So 5 will be displayed. For the third time, it is L dot get of 8. Sorry, L dot get of 3. 8 will be displayed. So in this way, all the elements present in the list will be displayed here. You can see as a separate element, it will display. 10,
Not
5,
as set.
and
It will be executed separately, right?
separately only it will execute if you are using a for loop. So this is normal for loop. Okay. So we are having one more loop called for each loop. So that loop only we will be using in real-time code. So what is this normal for loop? Sorry, enhanced for loop or for each loop.
For each loop.
Enhanced loop or for each loop. So this for each loop or enhanced loop is only used for arrays and collection framework. You cannot use it outside it. So if you want to use this enhanced for loop, you have to know only two things. One is name of the collection and data type of the collection. You need not to know the size. You need not to start from the index and all. No implementation, no condition checking, nothing. You have to know only two things: name and data type. So the syntax
Okay.
is for you have to give then data type of the collection, then a temporary variable, you can give any variable here, then colon, then name of the collection. That's all. Okay. So this is a syntax for each or enhanced loop. So this is using for loop, right? So it is using for loop. Now it is using enhanced for loop. So let's see this with an example. And I'm going to give a system statement. So it is enhanced for loop. So what I have to do for then data type of the collection. Data type of the collection is integer. Then a temporary variable. I can give any variable. I am just giving this x. Then colon name of the collection. Name of the collection is L. So inside this one, I can just print this x. So for the first time, first element will be stored in x. For the second time, second element. For the third time, third element. So automatic iteration will be there. So can see same output I'm getting. So mostly we will be using enhanced for loop in Selenium codes. We won't be using this normal for loop. We will use only enhanced for loop. Okay.
For loop, okay.
So this is for displaying the elements. So what are the things we did so far? We added element, we removed element, we fetched the element, we displayed the elements. So next is we can check whether a particular web element is present there or not. That is particular element is there or not. So it is L dot contains. Okay. So the method is L dot contains, and if I am checking for this 9, if the element is there, it will return true. Otherwise, it will return false. So running this code now. So it is returning as false here, right? So fetching is possible, adding, removing, checking, displaying, everything is possible in this list, right? So any doubts in list? So we are having.
I have to practice it.
Okay, we are having two types of list. First one alone we have seen, that is array list. So in next class we can see linker list. Okay. So we have finished abstraction, encapsulation, and then list today. Okay. So tomorrow we can see the remaining collection framework. So after this, we are having 3 more collection framework: map, set,
Okay.
queue, and one more topic left is interface. So after that we can get into Selenium. Okay.
Okay, but what math and scanner is there? Math scanner typecasting. It is normal. GitHub.
Oh, I didn't take that built-in class.
No, typecasting we haven't seen. I asked you once. But, and also,
Typecasting we have seen, right? Okay, then typecasting. No,
and math. I asked you
yeah,
for this thing, exponents, double power. You said during the math class you'll see. And scanner we haven't seen.
Yes, built-in class is there. I have missed that one. That is built-in class scanner, math, string class also I have not taken, right?
No, no, no.
Okay, then what are the remaining topics? So scanner class is there.
If you open this PDF, you have given the topic.
Yeah, I know the syllabus. I thought that I have finished that one. So scanner class, string class, then math class. These are built-in class. Typecasting is there. Then interface is there. After finishing this collection framework, we are having these topics. Right? Mostly within this week, we will finish Java. Okay?
Okay, fine. So after that,
we can start
Selenium, right?
Yes, Selenium. Then side by side, we can see manual. Okay?
Okay. One more thing I want to ask you. In this while working real time, the companies, what kind of frameworks will use now? There are a lot of things, right? Like Cucumber. So what is the major thing companies will use? When,
so Nowadays they are using TestNG and Cucumber. That plays a major role. Mostly they are using TestNG tool. So in some companies they are using Cucumber.
Okay, what we are going to
Okay, I'm
see,
going
we
to
are going.
take TestNG collection framework, that is TestNG framework I'm going to cover. And POM also I will help you because POM is also used. So I'll take POM as well as this one, TestNG.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, fine. So,
Okay.
okay, ma'am. If you want Cucumber, I can. I have to learn separately, right? If it is
Yeah,
if I
actually
learn
that
it, it
is
will be
not
fine.
needed. Actually, learn this TestNG first. And
Okay.
suppose if you are asked, if you are placed in Cucumber framework, then you can study that one.
Okay,
Because
ma'am.
that rate is very low. That is why I'm telling. Okay.
Okay, fine.
Okay. I'll wind up.